Every December, the same songs take over the world. But have you noticed that none of them are hip hop? Despite over a decade of chart domination that is really only now coming to an end, hip hop has never produced a true, universal Christmas classic. Nothing that reappears every year next to Mariah or Michael Bublé. And it's not because hip hop hasn't tried, it has. But the real reason these songs never broke through reveals something deeper about the culture, the industry, and what we expect from our holiday music. So today I'm going to answer, why doesn't hip hop have a Christmas hit? Now, the long answer to this question is surprisingly deep, but the short answer is simple. It kind of does. See, rappers have been making Christmas songs for decades now. I mean, in the late 80s you had Run DMC's Christmas in Hollis, which is a real hip hop classic. You have Outkast's Players Ball dropping in 1993 and becoming one of rap's only seasonal songs to ever chart. You have Christmas on Death Row, which featured the banger Santa Claus Goes Straight to the Ghetto. You have Ludacris's Ludachristmas, Kanye and Tiana Taylor's Christmas in Harlem, which is a great song by the way, although for obvious reasons it's probably not going to have that H&M level of radio play any longer. I mean, the list goes on. Chance the Rapper has a great Christmas mixtape. Tyler the Creator's made an entire soundtrack to the most recent Grinch movie, which had some bangers on it by the way. I won't bore you by listing every example I can think of, but I do like the idea of doing a tier list for all of rap's Christmas songs, so leave me a comment if you'd like to see that at some point. But the truth is that none of these songs have quite reached the dizzying Christmas heights of a Mariah Carey or a Wham. Even new artists like Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber and Sia have made it to the Christmas Hall of Fame, so don't tell me it's a generational thing. And this all begs the question, why not rap? Now, when you compare the emotional DNA of hip hop with the emotional DNA of Christmas music, you start to see why the two don't naturally produce the kind of songs that become timeless holiday standards. Hip hop grew out of real life conditions, from neighborhoods dealing with economic struggle, systematic inequality, and the need to carve out identity and joy in spite of these pressures. It's a genre that values honesty, perspective, and storytelling. Sometimes these stories are celebratory, sometimes they're critical or humorous, but the genre finds its foundations in lived experience. Christmas music, at least the mainstream version, operates in a very different emotional universe. It leans on nostalgia, idealized memories, and a deliberately polished picture of the holidays. You know, fireplaces, perfect families, neatly wrapped gifts, and worlds where everything magically works out. It's a genre built to be comforting, predictable, and universally digestible. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just very different from hip hop's foundation. And that disconnect becomes even clearer when you consider the commercial side of Christmas. For many marginalized communities, the very communities hip hop rose from, the holiday season isn't just about warmth and togetherness. It can also be a time of financial pressure and stress. Christmas is one of the most consumer-driven holidays on the planet. The expectation to buy gifts, to decorate, to travel, to host, it all comes with a price tag. And hip-hop artists have never shied away from acknowledging that reality. In fact, some Christmas rap songs point directly at the tension between the joy of the season and the economic strain it brings. I mean, one of my favorite Christmas rap songs would be Merry Christmas Lil Mama by Chance the Rapper and Jeremiah. And there's a whole spoken word outro in that song complaining about the consumerism and the pressure that you're under during Christmas. In fact, the inspiration to even make this video in the first place weirdly came from me listening to, I believe it's She's Mine Part 2 from For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole. And there's that bizarre tangent during the verse where he goes off on a rant about Christmas and the pressure it puts him under and the financial constraints he feels, yet the overwhelming pressure in this consumerist holiday. And it really got me thinking about rap's relationship to Christmas, and that's kind of where this idea came from. But look, this honesty can come off as cynical compared to the glossy fantasy that defines most holiday hits, but it's also authentic to the communities that the genre represents. And here's where the tone becomes an issue. When hip hop tells a Christmas story, it often leans into humor or subversion or commentary. That can make the songs feel less like traditional carols and more like reflections on the real Christmas, the stressful, funny, messy versions that people actually live. But Christmas classics survive through earnestness. They need to be comforting enough that people want to hear them every single year, in supermarkets and malls and family gatherings. Hip-hop's instinct to tell the truth, even in a playful way, doesn't always fit inside that narrow, timeless holiday sentiment mold. So this clash isn't about values, it's about perspective. and the kind of emotional storytelling Christmas music is allowed to have. The second big reason hip-hop hasn't produced a true Christmas classic is much less artistic and more structural. See, every December, radio essentially becomes a closed ecosystem. Once stations switch to holiday programming, they don't want anything that feels unfamiliar or abrasive or divisive. They want songs that are instantly recognizable, instantly singable, and this is key, suitable for every generation at once. Kids, parents, grandparents, people shopping for towels in Target. That's the audience. So, who dominates? Vocalists, crooners, artists with big melodies, clean production, timeless vocal delivery. Think Mariah Carey, Michael Bublé, Bing Crosby, Nat King Cole, Carrie Underwood, and so on. The Christmas canon is overwhelmingly built around melody, and more specifically, melody delivered by singers with wide demographic appeal. Rap, for all its cultural dominance, doesn't fit the mold that holiday radio wants to present. Even when a hip-hop Christmas song is friendly or fun or melodic, programmers still see it as a risk. They're imagining scenarios like a family in a car switching stations, or a retail manager telling them that a track doesn't feel Christmassy enough. Remember all those debates around country music when Beyonce created a country album and people said it wasn't country enough? Yeah, I don't know why I bring that up. Let's leave it there. And historically, radio gatekeeping shapes what becomes a holiday standard. If a Christmas song doesn't receive recurring airplay across multiple years, especially its first 5 to 7 years, it never makes it to the returning rotation. And without rotation, there's no cultural repetition. Without repetition, there's no nostalgia. And without nostalgia, you have no perennial hit. Hip-hop simply doesn't get the opportunity window that other genres do. Even a great rap Christmas song would have to fight its way onto playlists that have been basically frozen since the 1950s. Add to that the industry's risk-averse approach to holiday music, labels prefer predictable returns, and you get a system where a hip-hop Christmas hit isn't just unlikely, it's structurally prevented. So yeah, that's my take on all of that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What's your favorite Christmas rap song? Also, I'm sorry for disappearing for as long as I did. I know a lot of you were wondering where I was. Thank you for those comments. I just went through an insanely busy period of work at the end of the year. You know how it is, the run up to Christmas and all that. Obviously, I'm not at a point where I can do this YouTube thing full time, so maybe subscribe to me and I'll get there soon, hopefully. But in the meantime, I'm back. I got a lot of good ideas planned for this new year, so please do subscribe and leave a comment. Really helps me out. And yeah, thank you so much. See you guys soon.